We are still more than a month out from the NBA draft, but we've already had a lot of local players declare. So in our effort to bring you more to every story, our sports director Travis Green is breaking down their odds of making it to the pros.
The college basketball landscape has drastically changed over the past few years, and specifically the process for early entrance into the NBA draft. And we've been getting a ton of questions of what this means for our local college players and their futures with the teams. So let's break things down. Let's start with the rules. Back in 2019, the NCAA introduced a new rule where college players can sign with an agent without losing college eligibility. Now, there is a caveat. We'll get to that shortly. This new rule allows players to essentially get a taste of what it would be like to turn pro, and in the process, the agent helps the player find out where they stand in terms of the upcoming draft, whether they be a first or second rounder or even get drafted at all. Now, here's the catch. Under the new rule allowing players to sign with an agent and remain eligible, if a player decides to return to college, they must terminate all agreements made with an agent. Before the rule implemented in 2019, if you signed with an agent, you became ineligible. Now, here's another aspect that has changed. Players can go all the way through the NBA draft process, meaning they can participate in draft day. And if they go undrafted, they are able to return to college. Of course, this is for early entrance. The one stipulation being to do this, you must have participated in the NBA Draft Combine. To return, the athlete must inform the school's athletic director by 5 p.m. the Monday after the draft. Again, before the 2019 rule changes, if a player entered the draft, their college eligibility was lost. If a player enters the draft and is drafted by a team, they lose their college eligibility. You can't be taken by a team and then decide, hey, you know what, I want to go back to college. This protects NBA teams and their draft picks. A player can't go back to college to raise their draft stock if they're unhappy with where they were taken. In total, a player can enter the NBA draft 3 times. There is a limit set on withdrawing twice. So the third time you enter, you cannot return to college. If you'll remember, this was a part of the drama around Malachi Smith entering the draft, where reports were out that this was his 3rd time declaring, but this was actually his 2nd time. So he can return to college basketball if he decides to. The next time he enters the draft, it is final. So a lot of this boils down to key dates. April 23rd being the deadline for early entry. That's when we learned about a lot of players around the country entering into the draft. May 15th through May 21st is the NBA Combine. This is where a lot of players get feedback where they could wind up going in the draft. May 31st is the deadline to withdraw from the draft. For example, this was the day Drew Timme decided to return to Gonzaga for last season. If he were to have stayed in the draft and was taken in the late 2nd round and wasn't happy with that spot, he wouldn't have had the opportunity to return to Gonzaga. This is a day a lot of players decide to withdraw from the draft. June 22nd is the NBA draft itself. And then Monday, June 26th at 5 p.m. is the deadline for undrafted players to inform their schools they wish to return. So those are the rules and key dates to remember ahead of our local players. It will all come down to what they decide is best for them, which likely depends on the feedback they get on if and when they could get drafted.